Hey guys, welcome. This is the Evaluating Functions video, reporting live from the Smith Cave. So go ahead and write this at the top of the page if you would, and go ahead and draw this gorgeous picture that we can talk about in just a second. Before we evaluate functions, let's just have a brief discussion about functions. Okay? I'm going to draw a picture here, but you do not need to draw this, but I am a pretty much awesome artist. So here we go. Let's see here. This is exactly what I wanted it to look like. There. This is a toaster. You know it's a toaster mainly because I told you and I wrote the word toaster on it, and the picture doesn't really do it much justice, but that's a toaster. A toaster is kind of like a function. You put something in a toaster, and then you know what's going to come out. And it's going to be the same thing every time. Okay? That's much like a function. You're going to put a number in, and what comes out is always going to be the same. It's never going to be different. For example, you put bread in a toaster, and out comes toast every single time. So if you want, you could buy a loaf of bread, and you could put a piece of bread in, toast it, toast will come out. And you can do that through the whole loaf, and you're always going to get toast. Now imagine this. What if you put a piece of bread in there and salmon popped out? That would be wild, okay? Like, I don't know if the salmon would be wild, but it would just be really weird, okay? Or what if you put in bread and, let's say, BB-8 popped out? That would be weird. Or you popped in some toast and a skull came out. That'd be super weird. This is kind of a creepy skull, right? So I got a tag, might return that. Right? Or what if you popped in some bread and some scissors came out? That would be an example of not a function, because different things come out when you put in the same thing. So let's go ahead and plug something in. If this is a function, I should be able to input something, and I should get the output every single time. So I'm going to input the number 10. When we do our math, we're going to do 4, and instead of x, we're going to put 10 plus 2, and we're going to get 40 plus 2, and we're going to get 42, and out comes 42. Now, this is going to happen every single time I plug in 10. Now, the only way I'll get a different answer than 42 is if I plugged in a separate number, like, say, 2 or 15. Okay? So this is a great example of a function. And if we were to graph the function, which we will be getting some practice into, you'll notice usually a function could look something like this, or sometimes it looks something like this, but for every input, which usually we refer to as the x value, we're going to only get one output. Input, one output. And that's how life goes. Let's take a look at some examples and using function notation. Alright, we're going to do a couple examples today using function notation. So function notation is we can have lots of different functions. Okay? So this function is called g of x function. This is f of x function, h of x function, and j of x function. Basically, it lets us know which one we're going to use. This says g of 10. That means we're going to use this function here for this problem, but instead of x, we're going to plug in 10. And so we can write g of 10 equals negative 3 times 10 plus 1. And we go ahead and multiply, we get negative 30 plus 1 gives us negative 29. And that is the function for g of 10. So pretty basic. We're just plugging in a value, and we're calling it a function, because every time I plug in 10, I get the exact same value. Let's try this one. F of x. Instead, we're going to plug in negative 3. We're going to use this function, and we're going to get, and I always like to plug it in using parentheses, negative 3 squared plus 7. Negative 3 squared is going to be negative 3 times negative 3, which is going to be a positive 9 plus 7. And f of negative 3 is going to equal 16. Let's look at 2 more. H of 2. So we're going to take h of 2. You may hear a child in the background. And 12, and instead of x, we're going to plug in 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And so we get h of 2 equals 6. Last one, j of x. You see how this is pretty simple? We're just plugging in what its value is, and we always get one answer. We don't get multiple answers. We'll talk about what happens when we get multiple answers, because it's crazy. Alright, 2, and we plug in 7 again using those parentheses, plus 9. We get 14 plus 9. So j of 7 is equal to, that's going to be, sorry I put a 1, I meant to do, let's change that into a 2, and 3, 23. And there we go. Alright guys, hasta luego. Did you guys notice that I have, that's the Earth over there, and that's an arcade machine? Yeah, I know. Crazy. Alright, well, I gotta get going. I'm just gonna listen to some fat tunes with my huge speakers.